As I shoot this video, we literally are 1 week away, but one of the biggest elections of our life. Huge, monumental changes for so many reasons, right? What I focus on is housing, the economy, data, all that stuff. I have talked about Harris and Trump and the difference of, the policies with housing and stuff. But today, because this video is going to go out and maybe people haven't voted, maybe people are going to vote, maybe you want to know who you're voting for. Maybe you're voting for Harris, maybe you're voting for Trump, maybe you're not voting for any of them, maybe you're on the sideline. If one of them get elected, I wanted to dive through what they're proposing for housing. And they're kind of both different, right? Obviously, you got Democrat, Republican, but besides that, Democrats seem to be more like, let's help the folks, let's push rent control, let's do a little bit more regulation, let's tax people. Republicans seem to be like less regulation, let's still help people, but let's incentivize to build more, let's cut taxes. That's always typically, right? Both sides, that's what it is. I wanted to dive in because if you're watching this video, you want to buy a house, you're looking to buy a house, you're buying an investment property, you're in the real estate game, you're in it, how is this going to matter? And really, a lot of you guys are like, well, are rates going to come down? Are they not going to come down? And honestly, guys, nobody really knows, honestly, anything. We really don't. But we can look at the data, we can go through it and see where we're at and what's going on. And if you've never met me and you don't know who I am, my name is Kenny Simpson. I'm a loan officer. Yes, I've been doing this over 20 years. I focus on 1 to 4 unit financing, first-time home buyers, to the complicated self-employed, to the business owner, to work with tons of real estate investors, helped over 5,000 clients, funded billions of dollars of loans. I shoot these videos to help educate you, the clients, and everybody out there that needs help to understanding what in the world is going on and what's all this talk about rates, market, and this and that. And I try to break it down and dumb it down so that you can understand what is going on out there in the world, how it can affect you, your pocket, and also how it affects housing. And if you own a home and your rate's high and you want to refi, in this video, we'll talk a little about the rates and how maybe they'll adjust with the policies of each candidate. Or if you think there's going to be more inventory, or what are these candidates going to do for you and I, right? And are they really going to do it, or is it just a bunch of talk like usual? So let's dive into the data. Let's see what's going on. Let's check out their policies. So I'm going to start with Harris because ladies first, and I'm a gentleman, and then we'll talk a little bit about it, and we'll move through this stuff quickly. At the end of the day, we really just want to look at the differences, what it means, and how it's going to affect you and I. And I'll see. Rate's going to go down. Is it going to get more affordable? We have more options. Are they just going to build more housing? Because that's what we need. So with Harris, let's dive into expandable affordable housing. So her plan is to increase the federal support for affordable housing projects, specifically targeting the construction of low-cost and middle-class housing units to address the ongoing shortage. Encouraging multifamily development by offering incentives for construction of multifamily buildings in urban areas. Harris aims to tackle the pressing housing shortage faced by many cities. I like both of those. Direct support for home buyers. Harris is likely to prioritize direct assistance for home buyers, especially those from marginalized communities. Expanding grants and federal assistance programs will help first-time home buyers afford their initial purchase, with a particular focus on supporting underserved communities. First-time home buyer tax credit, reinstating or enhancing tax credits to first-time home buyers can make homeownership more attainable, providing crucial financial relief at a pivotal moments in the journey. I do like that, but let me time out and talk about that real quick. She's proposing, there'll probably be different programs to help first-time home buyers. Everybody knows this. Fannie knows this. Freddie knows this. All the lenders know this. The banks know this. We're all incentivized to help out. We need to help out first-time home buyers. That is the bottom line here. But what matters here is, let's look here. If you're going to give somebody $25,000 to help, or a tax credit, or whatever it is, that's great. But the problem is, number one, is these people, us, right? If we're going to buy a house and we're going to get that, number one, we got to be able to afford the house. So if interest rates are super high and I can't afford the house, that's going to be a significant problem, number one. Number two, also, is that we got to have houses. So there's just not enough inventory out there, and the inventory out there might not make sense, or it's overpriced, or there's just not enough of it. So there's just not enough inventory for first-time homebuyers to go out there and feel good. And number three, what we really need too, is there are people that are stuck at a lower level where they have low rates and a house that doesn't work, or a condo, and they're like outgrowing it, but they're like, I cannot sell this because I'm locked in on a crazy low rate and a crazy low payment to go something bigger. So These solutions are great. It's still not, basically lower rates is really good, is really what we need, and nobody can really predict those or get us there because it's not that easy just to do. You can get them down there, but you could also screw up a lot of other things. So I like this plan. It works, but we're going to need a lot more housing to get affordability down. We're going to need a lot more housing if we're going to give people free money to go buy homes because there's just not enough homes out there. So combating housing inequality, addressing historical differences in housing to Central Harris's plan. So fair housing reform, strengthening anti-discrimination laws to ensure equitable access to housing and financial options. This includes increased oversight of mortgage lenders to prevent discriminatory practices, targeted programs for minority homeowners. Harris plans to enhance access to credit and reduce barriers specifically affecting minority buyers who have traditionally faced systemic challenges in securing home loans. I do like this. I think this is great. The only thing I will point out here is we do not want anybody, whether it's Republic, Democrat, we do not want them to overregulate banks, overstep their foot on the CFPB or anything, because look guys, if they overregulate and they just squeeze the guidelines and everything too tight, then it's non-lendable. So I do agree we should help people out. What are some of the things they could do? Look, for example, if one person wants to buy the house, the problem is, let's say you're going to buy a house, and you're going to have 4 or 5 family members with you, and they can't go on the loan, but they can pay you rent, they can contribute. We can't count any of that. So I just think with some of these things, instead of just thinking about the same old channel, like you got to get this house and this, I think we should think about like other ways to look at income, other ways that other people could go on the loan, other ways where you could say, oh, I have 3 people that could sign a lease and rent rooms for $500. We need to be more creative to get people in houses with down payment stuff, but also with income, because they could afford the house if those 3-4 people move in, but if they have to qualify by themselves, that might be out of the way. So I think just taking a step back, maybe getting some information from people inside the industry that like me or somebody else that deals with all the time, not necessarily me, but you know what I mean, in coming up with different programs and different products to really help people with the affordability aspect of it, because just a down payment and getting them in a house, it doesn't mean they're going to afford, it doesn't mean they're going to qualify. So that is the catch-22 here. Renters' rights and protections, support renters facing high costs. Rent assistance programs, expanding federal assistance will help alleviate financial burdens on tenants, potential introducing measures that cap rent increases in high demand markets, stronger rent protection, increasing funding for legal aid services to protect tenants from unfair evictions and ensure rights are upheld in the rental agreement. So I am a landlord. I do own rental properties. I do agree with some of this. Look, rent control is good until it's not good. So if you're going to cap things and overregulate and strangle the landlord, that is a bad idea. The government is not in business. The government is basically there to help make sure people do business well, right? Ethical and correct. So if you're going to come in there and try to tell a landlord how to run their property, rent their property, and do all this stuff, it's a really bad idea. That's like saying, hey, all the hamburger shops, we're going to tell you what you can charge, what you can't charge, and all this. It's not going to work. So what we need to do with this is, I kind of agree, we already have protections in place like California that are great, so we don't need to enhance them more like Prop 33. What you really need to do for the renters is the government, local, state, the federal, they need to basically take some of that tax dollars that we throw away and piss it down the drain on dumb shit, literally. They need to incentivize and give the builders to build affordable housing, give them tax breaks, give them money, give them free land, whatever it is, and build affordable housing. That's what we need to do, because we need more affordable housing on housing and on apartments. That will solve the problem. Rent control on some levels okay, on a big level where you're choking people out, it's real bad, and you're going to screw the whole thing up. Go look at LA, San Francisco, New York. It's terrible, guys. Climate-friendly housing, environmental sustainability is a significant aspect of Harris's vision. Incentives of green upgrades, offering tax breaks for the energy-efficient home upgrades aligns with their commitment to sustainability and reducing carbon footprints. I love that. Building resilient communities, investing in disaster-proof infrastructure in vulnerable areas, not will only enhance the safety, but also promote long-term sustainability in housing and development. I love the green stuff. I love it. But if it's going to be over-regulate and slow down the building process, it's got a big thumbs down for me, because it already takes long enough. For example, here in California, why we have a crisis is because you can't build a house. Some of these neighborhoods here, to knock down a house and build another house, it's 5 years. To build an apartment building, it's 5 years. That is insane. It's way too long. It needs to be much faster. So this type of stuff is great, but if you're going to add more and more layers, it's going to take longer to deal with. We don't want to do it. So moving on to Mr. Trump. So deregulation, and number one, we're going to go over deregulation, boosting home construction. Number two, encouraging private sector involvement. Number three, homeownership incentives. Number four, focus on opportunity zones. Deregulation and boosting home construction. Trump's housing policy is rooted in belief that reducing regulations will stimulate housing market and increase supply. Cutting red tape for builders. The Trump administration aims to streamline building codes and regulations and make it easier for developers to initiate projects. This could lead to a significant increase in housing supply, potentially lowering prices in a market that has struggled with inventory shortages. Tax incentives for developers. By offering tax breaks, incentives, particularly in opportunity zones, areas designated for economic revitalization, Trump hopes to attract builders, investors to low-income neighborhoods, thereby fostering economic growth and improving housing affordability. I love both of these, as long as you don't remove too much of the regulation. Some regulations, okay, like minor, like not impacting environmental stuff, but still getting through things quickly. So I love this. Incentivizing developers, great. But here's the bottom line. If we're incentivizing developers and they're only going to build Class A luxury apartment, it's not going to work. What we need to do is we need developers to say, cool, we're going to build mixed use. We're going to build Class A. We're also going to build a ton of affordable housing. You incentivize them. You help them out. Whatever you can do. But I agree. If you have a big builder, if you have a builder and they want to build affordable housing and things like that, they should have a streamlined process where they can get through the approval process so fast, so quick, kill a lot of the fees, make it more affordable. The government should be a partner in that and incentivize them to build housing, because that's what we need in a lot of communities. Encouraging private sector involvement. Trump's approach favors private sector solutions over expansion of federal programs. Public-private partnerships. The administration encourages collaboration between private developers, local governments to create affordable housing solutions. This model aims to leverage private investment while minimizing federal oversight. Mortgage flexibility. Supports policies that allow lenders more freedom to offering mortgage products is key. This may innovative financing solutions that cater to a broader range of home buyers, making home ownership more accessible. I love it. Yes, private sector is where it's at. Teaming up with the government, incentivizing, boom, affordable housing, love it. Number two, mortgage flexibility, absolutely. Not too flexible. We don't go back to 2008 and get these dumb loans out. But look, like I said, there's people that go move into a house and one person can only qualify and they use their income to make $80,000, but there's other people in there that work that maybe they can't go on the loan or something like that, and their roommates are helping contribute, and we can't count that. I think we just need to use our brains, use common sense to help people get into housing, because they can get in it and they have other people helping them. Maybe they just can't go on the loan. So somebody might have bad credit or this or that. It's just we need to be more common sense with underwriting, just not stupid. Homeownership incentives. To stimulate home ownership, Trump proposes several financial incentives. Lowering taxes for homeowners, potential tax cuts for home property owners could make home ownership more attractive, including additional deductions for mortgage interest and property taxes. First-time homebuyer programs advocate for federal incentives to provide assistance, particularly focusing on down payment aid. First-time homebuyers is a priority. This could help many individuals overcome the largest barriers to home ownership. I agree with this all. I think this is great. Giving people, like I said, this is great. But if we do not have the inventory, if it's not affordable, we can't get the rates down, all this stuff's not going to help. And you can't make some products that are available to people to get them in the houses. This is great. It'll be all pipe dream for most people, because if they can't afford the house, they can't get in, they're going to be out. Focus on opportunity zones. He did this before by incentivizing developers with tax breaks to invest in these zones. The goal is to revitalize communities while increasing homeownership rates among residents who have been historically underserved. Trump already did this. It worked out really well. I've seen it here in San Diego and other parts of the country. So this is already a win-win. I agree with this. Let's do it. So to wrap up, let's go through Harris and Trump's key measures. So affordable housing, Harris is federal funding and development incentives. Trump is deregulation and private sector solutions. First-time home buyers, Harris, expand grants and tax credits. Trump is incentives for private lenders, to help them. And he says to help people too. Regulatory approach, strengthening protections and oversight, reducing regulations for builders. Those two, they're very opposite on. I agree with the reduced regulations. We're on that one because we already have too much red tape, too much rent control, and we don't need any more of it. Renter support. increase rent assistance and protections, limit federal intervention. I agree with that. Maybe there's some states where it's wide open, there's a lot of issues, they need a little rent control, but here in California, leave us alone, get out, we don't want you, we're good, quit trying to mess with us, man, leave us alone, I don't want you here, you guys let us run our businesses, we do a good job, you're in the way. Not every landlord's great, just like not every tenant's great. Climate and sustainability. Harris focused on green housing and disaster resilience. Less emphasis on green incentives, so opposite there. That one, I'm not sure. I kind of tend to do both, but if you're focusing too much on disaster resilience and this, you might get over-regulation, and it might take too long to build. So I think they need to come together more on those. Housing equality. Harris, strong anti-discrimination reforms, and then housing equality on Trump, focus on opportunity zones and economic areas. So what does this mean for you? First-time homebuyers. Both Trump and Harris prioritize assisting first-time homebuyers through a different lens. Trump leans towards private sector-driven assistance, while Harris is going to lean more on the federal support. For current homeowners, if you own a home, expect potential tax breaks under Trump administration. Meanwhile, Harris may offer incentives focused on making homes more efficient. For renters, Harris' policy more favorable towards renters with an emphasis on protection against unfair practices, while Trump approaches lens on towards enhancing overall homeownership rates. Both look good there. For developers and builders under Trump, anticipate deregulation alongside incentives. Harris' plan may adhere to affordable housing guidelines, but will also provide federal support for environmentally sustainable projects. Guys, in the end here, they're kind of both focusing on the same thing. I think with Harris, you'll get with a little bit more red tape, more regulation. With Trump, you'll get less regulation and push more. But they both need to build more. And will they accomplish anything? Who really knows? But at the end of the day, nobody's really talking about getting rates lower. And the way to get rates lower is actually the economy would have to calm down, inflation, the jobs. So the one thing I didn't hear them talk about is how they're going to cure affordability in housing, which is going to be they're going to build their way out of it. I don't know if they will, but we need to get interest rates down. And the one way to do that quickly, in my opinion, nobody's talking about, is we need to get the government to stop overspending money, stop over hiring and funding this whole national incentive we have here. Because if the government stepped out and quit spending all the money that we do not have, don't have, we'd probably have a more tighter economy with lower rates, and it'd be a little bit more easy to read. It's hard to read when the government's got their paws and everything in it. So anyways, that is it, my friends. Thanks for watching. Hey, send this video to someone, comment below. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But remember, my name is Kenny Simpson. If I can help you, please reach out anytime. Love to, whether it's a pre-approval or you want me to look at a current refi you're doing, or you want to talk about strategy, buying a primary, first-time home buyer, real estate investor, however it may help you, please reach out. Thanks so much.